The hedgerow explodes 6 feet from your head. You're 22, standing in the open hatch, shoulders above the steel, eyes locked on a gap in the green wall ahead. Dirt and leaves rain down on your shoulders. Somewhere in that gap, a gun is tracking you. Your gunner's voice cracks through the intercom. Where? I don't see it. You don't see it either. Not yet. 6 hours earlier, it's just fog and cold metal. You wait curled against your tank's tracks, boots still laced from yesterday, rifle within reach even in sleep. Normandy in July should feel like summer. It doesn't. The bocage swallows the sun hedgerows 12 feet thick, root and earth and centuries of French farmers, boxing every field into its own private trap. Men who fought the desert or Sicily say they've never seen country this cruel to a tank. You've had this tank 3 months, since D-Day +4. Her name is stenciled under your hatch, Dorothy, after a wife back in Ohio who isn't yours. She belonged to the corporal before you. Nobody talks about him. You painted over the last letter of his name yourself the first week, and never told the crew why. Your loader, Private Instabile 19, is writing a letter he won't let anyone read. You've seen the envelope, though, Brooklyn address. A girl's handwriting already waiting for his reply, worn soft at the folds from however many times he's carried it against his chest. Your driver, Sergeant Kowalski, doesn't write letters. He just checks the same photograph every morning, like counting rosary beads, thumb tracing the same corner until the paper's gone thin as skin. And you carry your own weight. A private one. Command teaches you distances, angles, kill zones. It never teaches you what to do with the fear of being the tallest, most exposed man in a 5-man crew, standing in a hatch built for looking, not hiding. Today's orders: push toward St. L, clear the lane, support the infantry. Nobody says the word panther. Nobody has to. Breakfast is cold hash from a can, eaten standing on the hull, the metal already warm under your boots. Nobody complains. Complaining wastes breath you might need later. By 0800, you're moving. First gear, second gear, never third. Not in this country. The lanes between hedgerows are sunken, narrow as hallways, walled in green on both sides. Visibility, 20 yards, maybe 30 on a good stretch. You could drive past a man close enough to touch and never know he was there until his gun spoke first. Dorothy can't climb these banks cleanly. Her belly's thin as tin there. And every crew knows what happens to a tank that exposes its underside cresting a hedgerow. Some outfits are already welding steel teeth to their bows, scrap iron torn off the beach obstacles, ripping straight through the earth instead of climbing over it. Yours hasn't gotten the teeth yet. Yours still climbs, blind, nose up, engine screaming, praying the far side is empty. You radio ahead every 50 yards, more out of habit than hope. Infantry walk beside you, using your steel as cover, close enough that you can hear their boots in the mud over your engine. That's the deal out here. They shield you from Panzerfausts creeping through the hedges. You shield them from machine guns. Nobody says it out loud. Everybody knows it. Midday, you halt in an orchard, apples still hard and green on the branches. Instabile shares a photograph of his girl. Kowalski almost smiles. For 4 minutes, this doesn't feel like war. It feels like 4 young men leaning on warm steel in the sun, passing a canteen, talking about nothing, baseball scores nobody's seen in months. A diner back home, whose mother makes the better pie. Then the radio crackles. A Sherman up the line gone. Second platoon, brewed up in under a minute. You all know the word. Brewed up. Gasoline tank. Ammo racks with no protection, yet the wet stowage kits everyone's heard rumors about still haven't reached your battalion. One clean hit, and the men inside have seconds, not minutes. Instabile stops smiling. He folds his letter smaller, like making it smaller might make him smaller too. Kowalski doesn't say anything. He just starts the engine. You give the order to move. The lane ahead narrows into shadow, hedgerows leaning in like they're listening. Somewhere past that shadow, something is waiting for you. The hedgerows close in tighter. Kowalski eases the throttle. Every man goes quiet. Even the infantry beside you stop talking. Rifles up, eyes on the green walls. You scan the gap ahead, the same kind of gap German gunners love. A killing lane. One tank at a time. No room to maneuver, no room to run. No room to even turn the turret more than a few degrees before you'd tear into the bank. Infantry ahead signal a halt with a raised fist. Something's wrong up the line. A runner comes back low and fast, whispers to your platoon leader, then vanishes into the hedge again. You raise your field glasses. Green wall. Green wall. Nothing. Then sunlight catches something. A flat edge. Man-made. Wrong angle for a fence post. Wrong color for a farm gate. Your stomach drops before your brain finishes the thought. Contact, you say low, forcing your voice steady for the crew's sake. Front, 200 yards. Could be a gun. Instable freezes with a shell in his hands, halfway to the breach. Kowalski's knuckles go white on the sticks. The engine idles, patient, unaware. You open your mouth to call the shot and the world answers first. The round hits the hedgerow beside you, not the hull. A miss, a gift you didn't earn, and you know it. Reverse. You scream. Kowalski throws her back, tracks tearing mud, the whole tank shuddering as it lurches. Your gunner swings the turret, hunting the muzzle flash through smoke and shredded leaves, breath ragged over the intercom. There, you've got it a shape in the tree line, low, angular, half buried under cut branches, not a full panther. An anti-tank gun, dug in, camouflaged for exactly this moment, still enough to kill you in one round if it corrects its aim before you correct yours. Fire. The 75 answers. The whole tank rocks, the concussion slamming through the hull through your chest. Dust and bark rain down on the deck. Instabile's already reaching for the next shell, hands shaking but moving, muscle memory outrunning fear. Silence then. Through the dust, no return fire. You don't celebrate. You've learned better in 3 months. You wait, glasses up, heart slamming against your ribs, counting seconds that stretch like hours, waiting for a second gun you can't see yet to prove itself. Nothing moves. Clear, you finally say. Your voice doesn't sound like yours. It sounds like someone else borrowed it for a moment and hasn't given it back. Behind you, Instabile is shaking, the next shell still cradled in his arms, never loaded. Kowalski just breathes, forehead against the periscope, eyes shut, lips moving with no sound behind them. You did it. This time. Somewhere up the lane, 2nd Platoon's crew didn't get this time. You think of them for exactly as long as you can afford to, then you put it away. Because there's still a war left to fight today, and grief is a luxury for tonight, if tonight ever comes. By dusk, the lane is yours. St. L is still ahead, still weeks away, still going to cost more men than anyone will ever properly count. That night, Instabile finishes his letter. He reads you one line, just one about missing summer rain that doesn't sound like shell fire. You don't ask more. Some things belong only to the person who wrote them, and you've learned to let a man keep what's his. Kowalski checks his photograph one more time before sleep, like he does every night, like he'll do every night until this is over. or he isn't. He doesn't show it to anyone. He never has. You sit against Dorothy's tracks, the same spot you woke in, the steel still faintly warm from the day's work. 22 years old. Alive. For today. Somewhere behind you, Graves Registration is doing quiet, terrible work for 2nd Platoon. Work nobody envies and everybody's grateful someone's willing to do. You don't know if he'll climb into this hatch tomorrow and be as lucky. Nobody does. That's the truth no one puts on the recruiting posters. He was one commander, in one tank, in one hedgerow, on one afternoon in France, and there were thousands of afternoons like his, thousands of hatches, thousands of young men learning the same terrible arithmetic of survival, one gap in the hedgerow at a time. Tomorrow, in a foxhole 200 yards past that same tree line, a 19-year-old German grenadier is about to have a day just as long.